So it says that we are live, and it's Wednesday night. It's 5:30 here on the West Coast. It's Dave. It's Chuck. We have a really cool intro video, but guess what? You're not going to see it because it just messes with us every week. We finally had to nix it. We've worked with the company that has our software that we broadcast with, and guess what? It's not going live this week. So welcome. We hope you're joining us somewhere around the world. We got a lot going on today. Dave's outline just keeps getting longer and longer each week. But that's good. There's a lot going on in sports, especially with the NFL back in full swing. But hey, first, let's talk about the most important topic of the night. That's beer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be a sports and draft show without draft, right? So, this week I went with a Rasputin. It's an Imperial Stout. I love this stuff. It, of course, nice and black there. You only get it in a 4-pack because, well, it has 9% alcohol in each bottle. And when you get up that high, they only give you 4 instead of 6. So that sucks. So I was telling Dave earlier that I have a standby beer that doesn't have as much in it, so I can enjoy plenty of draft through the show. But old Rasputin, I was actually reading the back. I don't need to read it all, but it's an interesting story. You know, it's just marketing and how much of it's true. But this old Rasputin guy, their motto is never say die. And I guess whoever this guy was, they tried to kill him a lot by poisoning him, fed him poisoned wine and tea cakes, all kinds of stuff's been shot multiple times, survived. And he was finally killed when someone bound and stuffed him through a hole in the ice to drown in the River Neva. So, you know, legendary. Here's to you, Rasputin. We'll live on in our memories, and we will enjoy your beer. All right. So, hey, tell us about your beer. I better have a good story.
Jeez Louise. I don't think anyone got killed in mine. Man, I'm from Southern California, brah. Like, we don't play around like that down here. It's all about peace and the waves and, you know, no gluten, you know, all that stuff. But no, I am having the Jetty IPA. So this is actually a brewery that I highlighted in a former episode, and it's from Pizza Port down in Carlsbad, California. This Jetty, it's pretty good. I've never had it before. My wife actually found it in basically a 2 sampler pack of Pizza Port. So they had this Jetty IPA and they had this Swami's IPA, which I've had before, and it's also good. So it came in a nice 24 pack. You get 12 of each, 16-ounce cans. This Jetty that I'm drinking tonight, it's got 4 different hops in it: Chinook, Simcoe, Amarillo, and Cascade. So no, it's really nice. It's pretty light. Definitely not Chuck's beer, but it has a nice IPA flavor without really punching you in the face with that IPA flavor. So if you don't like really hoppy beers, I would say this is a very good IPA. If you kind of want that hot flavor and you want a good craft IPA, but you don't like that insane hot flavor, like, this would be the way to go. The Jetty's really good. So yeah, I'm happy with my pick, and I brought the other one to crack open maybe later in the show after I finish this one. So,
well, we better get going. So and I'm going to say I picked this at the beginning of the year too. I was on board with you when we were picking teams, and I picked my sleeper team. My sleeper team is your team, and they 2-0. Ladies and gentlemen, the 49ers are 2-0. 2-0.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad.
2 road games too, both on the road.
Well, we'll see what Pittsburgh's coming in, of course, you know, no Ben Roethlisberger for some time. And so, you know what? I think either way, you know, Pittsburgh wasn't playing really well with him before he got hurt. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. But congratulations to your San Francisco 49ers.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, I mean, I know we're going to get to a lot of football stuff later, but let's just kind of capsule. So what did you like this week in the NFL?
What I like this week in the NFL, I did like the 49ers, 2-0, obviously. I liked our offensive line, even though Staley got hurt. So we'll have to see how our left tackle does that's replacing him this week, because Joe Staley is basically the oldest 49er. He's the veteran 49er. He's captain, and now he's out. But, hopefully we can get protection on that left side, and Garoppolo will have time to throw like he did last week. I was very impressed by our offensive line for us running the ball also. Breida did well. Wilson came off the practice squad because of Tevin Coleman's injury, and he came in and he ran really well coming off the practice squad. Mostert got some really tough runs and good yardage. So, it's funny. We spent money on Jerick McKinnon, trying to get him, and he hasn't done anything for us because he's always injured. Which injuries happen. So hopefully he comes back healthy and can be the guy that we thought he'd be, that we paid good money for him to be as our running back. And then we brought Tevin Coleman in this year to be kind of like our third down back, pass catching back, and he got hurt, so he wasn't there. But guess what? I don't even know if we need those two dudes that make more money than three guys we had on the field. Breida rushed for over 100 yards, and he looked good, and he was good last year. I mean, Matt Breida could be basically our full-time back, and he can catch out of the backfield. Mostert, he runs really hard, and he's on special teams. And then Wilson, he was actually our best running back in preseason, and he comes off the practice squad, and I think he had like 2 goal line touchdowns or something this last weekend. So all these guys that aren't our high-paid running backs, it kind of goes to show you in the league how the league has gone, why Melvin Gordon isn't getting an extension. And maybe if you're Zeke Elliott, you are, but a lot of teams around the league feel like, hey, we can get by if we have 3 guys that run real hard and one guy that can catch pretty well out of the backfield, and one of them can block pretty good on passing downs where they're not running a route, can help pass protect back there. We can go by committee, and we don't need one guy that we pay $12 million to. We can have 3 guys that we pay $3 million to, and then we just saved ourselves $3 million in that position where we can use that money somewhere else. So, I mean, I was really impressed by my Niners. That was great. And then other things that I liked the Chicago Bears offense not quitting with 31 seconds left to get into field goal range to kick the game-winning 51-yard field goal. And with all their kicking issues they had last year, and everyone worried about that, you got this young rookie kid from Florida coming in, hits a 51-yard game winner on the road, thankfully in Denver, where that air helps that ball go a little bit further, but most pro kickers can kick a 51-yard field goal. But the fact that Denver went ahead with 31 seconds left in a real crazy way, if you didn't see the game, they scored with 31 seconds left. Then they went to go for 2 points to take the lead. They were still down by 1. They were going to try to win it outright with a 2-point conversion. There was a penalty that moved them back on the offense. They tried to kick the extra point. It was missed. Then there was a penalty on the defense. So they decided, well, now we're at the 1.5-yard line. We'll try the 2-point for the win again, and they got it. So they were up by 1 with 31 seconds left off the 2-point conversion, and the Bears drove down. There was a 15-yard penalty on Denver that helped them get more yardage close to field goal range. So it was a big, big penalty. I think it was late hit. It was a personal foul, a late hit on Garoppolo. So they get 15 more yards. The last play before the field goal, he got some time, but he moved up in the pocket, bottom side, or Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky, not Garoppolo. See, I'm such a lover. I'm so happy about my Niners. It's in my head. But Trubisky. So Trubisky's moving around, gets up through the pocket, buys enough time, finds a guy wide open in the middle of the field. But the thing, if you watch, so this is where I think I've seen it a couple times now this year in football at the end of games. So the receiver catches the ball in the middle of the field, right? He goes towards a defender and goes down to the ground, and the defender touched him down. And they were able to call the timeout with barely a second left to get the field goal team on the ground. So you need to know your situations. This is why Bill Belichick is the best. You can look at any Bill Belichick audio clips and you hear him say situation, what's the situation at practice? He quizzes his guys constantly. What's the situation? What's the situation right now? What if it was this situation? All the Denver defender has to do is not touch the guy for 2 seconds and then touch him and the game is over and you win.
Right.
He touched him with a second left. Just don't touch him. Then they don't get a field goal attempt. Let a few more seconds go by and then touch him and the game's over and you win. So for me, I was like, what? Right when I saw it, even as a Bears fan, I was like, why did he touch him? Why did he touch that guy and leave a second left? Like, wait, he's not going anywhere. Wait 5 seconds. You're all around him. You can all tackle him. Like, don't let any time left. Don't touch him. And but he did. And the Bears got a chance and they kicked the extra point. So one of my positives was the Bears not quitting with 31 seconds left and getting themselves in a position to kick a game-winning field goal at the end of the game on the road. So that was something I liked too.
I like seeing the Rams win. I think I watched that game. I was that was probably the highlight of the week. I mean, I watched football, but we didn't watch the same games. My television package is different than your television package, and so I was relegated to Tampa Bay, Carolina on Thursday, which everyone can see. Actually, not everyone can see. I can't actually watch it because I don't have an NFL Network. But if on your Yahoo app for our league, there's a link in there, and you can watch it on your phone live. And on Sunday, they had 3 games on there. 2 of them were already being televised. The third one wasn't. So you can actually, Yahoo is playing games that you can actually play and stream on your phone directly from the Yahoo fantasy football app. So that's kind of cool. But I think still the 49ers winning was a big deal for me. Even though I'm not a big 49ers fan, just being along with you and picking them as a sleeper team, it's good to actually finally see them. They've been at the bottom for a while. So, yeah. So what did you not like about this week? I think there was some of that.
Even though they're not teams I root for, I don't like seeing marquee players go down. So seeing Drew Brees get hurt and be out for several weeks and see Ben Roethlisberger go out for the year. I don't want to see starting quarterbacks go out. And maybe Rudolph, I watched that Steeler game. So Rudolph, he led the team pretty well after he came in. He got some yards. He got him down the field. He scored some points. So I think they're okay. But, yeah, I don't exactly all the injuries, Lloyd. I don't want to see players get hurt. I don't want to see players that we all want to watch get hurt. I don't care what team they're on. I don't care if I root against them. I want my team to beat the best guys out there. I want to watch the best guys out there. So those injuries were bad. I don't like seeing that. And then the last one was the Dolphins. They're just terrible. Like we talked about it last week. Like, why would you be, these point spreads for them, 19 points, whatever college point spreads. It's just crazy now. And then, there's rumors of half the teams talking to their agents that they want traded because this team's not trying to win and they're tanking. I don't know what it's about Miami. Their baseball team's apparently tanking on purpose. Their football team. How about we don't have any teams in Miami anymore? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Seems like they don't care down there to try to win ball games. So why do they have a franchise? Give another city a chance to have a franchise and support them and an ownership system that will try to win games because that's what you're trying to do, right? So that's just disappointing to me that they got completely annihilated 2 weeks in a row. It's just sick. Like, these are professionals. Like, these are professional players. They get paid very well. And it's hard to see guys, they're frustrated. I mean, you're a pro. You have pride. You're supposed to be one of the best people on the planet at what you do, and you're getting blown out. And so I don't know that. I don't want to see the Dolphins anymore this year. Like what is there to watch?
Yeah. And, I agree with you. I didn't like the injuries unless I'm like up against the quarterback or receiver in fantasy or something. Then it's, then it's okay if you like twist his pinky and is out for the game. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. So Lloyd says that Miami's the new Browns, and
could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think people expected the Browns to be bad. And I don't think that people expect Miami to be that bad. And so, yeah, they have a lot going on there with ownership. But I think it kind of goes on to what else I didn't like. Cam Newton, last Thursday, Jameis Winston. I mean, that game really for me was a toss up. Who could possibly win? Who's going to step up? Carolina should have won that game. And Carolina was, I mean, I guess on paper, the better team. But what's happened to Cam Newton over the last year and a half? And just the expectation of players, I think in his interview or something about that, I got to start taking a look at myself. And I should have pulled up a picture, and he's looking like Prince he had a scarf over his head, and and with these rosy glasses or something on, and he's like, at some point I probably just need to take a good look at myself. Yeah, you think? I mean, focus on I don't know. It's their life. We don't get paid the millions. So it is what it is. But I just think some subpar play by some teams. This is the NFL, and we should be able to field, 32 highly functional teams. And yeah, so that was my frustration. So who was your MVP for the week, Dave?
Yeah, and on that Cam Newton note, I didn't like it so much, and he's banged up all the time, that I actually dropped him from my fantasy team, one of my fantasy teams this week, and picked up Matt Stafford, who was available, just because I was like, I just can't count on Cam to be healthy or throw accurately every week. So I had to drop him, but my MVP is a guy who can definitely hit anybody on the field. My MVP is Patrick Mahomes, just for his second quarter, 278 yards passing and 4 touchdowns in the second quarter alone. A lot of them to that Demetrius Thomas guy, who's kind of a newer receiver right there, number 11. He had two of the touchdowns, I believe, and a lot of other good catches down the field to get them into scoring territory. So, 278, 4 touchdowns just in the second quarter. They won 28-10. So every touchdown they had was in the second quarter of the game. So most of the rest of the game, I did watch the game. After it was over, I replayed it so I could see this whole second quarter and see all the drives and how they led to these 4 touchdowns. But the rest of the game was pretty vanilla. This whole second half was pretty lame, but this second quarter was amazing. He did end up with 443 total passing yards, so he still was throwing it down the field. It's just he only threw touchdowns the second quarter, but he's definitely my MVP just for the second quarter.
My MVP, I just told you earlier, no one really stood out individually for me. I mean, he's amazing, and I have him in one of my leagues as a quarterback because I went way out of order and drafted him in like the 4th round. And rest in peace to the base. Oh, I guess everybody can look at that. We're going to be saying goodbye to that in Oakland. And I wonder what they think running from dirt to turf and such. But I did have one, I did have one other letdown of the week. And unfortunately it's not in the NFL, but it's still in the football arena. And we had our Primetime Sports League had our playoffs this weekend. And so we were seeded number 2, had to play number 3 to play number 1, and we dropped that game. So we got to watch the playoffs from the side, or the championship from the sideline. But still, what a fantastic season with Primetime Sports League. And we are going to kick it off the 1st of next month. Not that anybody watches this show in Santa Clarita, but if you do, and we can find this, you need to check them out at Primetime Sports League. Join the league. They have kickball on Saturdays, football on Sundays, and they're just awesome people. And, where people like myself can go out and still act like a fool once in a while, running around catching a football. So, anyway, that was really my downer for the week, is that, we've been fortunate to make the playoffs quite a bit and play in championship games. And just to drop this one on a team that we had beaten in this middle of the season, they got better. So, We have a strong team building for next season. So anyway, that was my downer. Another one of my things I didn't like about the week, football related, not NFL. So, how about, so there was also some other sports this week, right? WNBA.
Yeah. So WNBA, they started their playoffs last week. They had the first round. Chicago ended up beating Phoenix by quite a bit, like 29 points, because one of the main reasons, Brittany Griner, she's the Primetime Sports. Thank you for participating in our show. Brittany Griner, she's basically the lead scorer of the WNBA this year, regular season. She went out with an injury fairly early in the game, and so they lost. And then Seattle beat Minnesota in the first round game. Second round game, if you don't know, so these ladies, they have a first round game. It's one game elimination. Their second round game is one game elimination. And then once you get to the last four teams, there's two series. They're 3-game series, and then the finals is a 3-game series. So they play very short series. And then in round two, LA Sparks defeated Seattle Storm. So the Storm, my team that I like in the WNBA, they're out. And then the Las Vegas beat Chicago 93-92. And Chuck has the clip. They won the second round game on a last-second shot, a three-pointer. So you can see they're down by 2. And all that Chicago has to do is run the clock out, but they can't. So they don't break the press. The girl makes a bad pass, and then it's stolen. You know, Hamby looks like she's out of bounds. They said they replayed it. She didn't step out of bounds here on the sideline, and she just didn't really know there was still that much time left, and she heaves up a shot, and there's still 5 seconds left on the clock. You can see when she hits that deep three to take the lead, but hey, you're losing. You got to make the shot. So who cares if there's 5 seconds left? She took the lead. They're able to, stop them from making a game-winning basket against them, and they moved on in the playoffs. Round 3 has started. Game 1's happened yesterday. So Washington won the first game over Las Vegas, and then Connecticut won 84-75 over the LA Sparks. So they're going on in the playoffs. So WNBA playoffs are going
on. So let's move on over to college sports. I'm going to pull up a clip because you have it on the outline, and I got to pull up this clip that when you get to that game. So you can save it for last, the Iowa game. But yeah. So what happened in college this week?
Well, BYU, I had said last week I really wanted to see what that USC backup quarterback could do because he went in, and beat Stanford his first start. Well, they went to BYU, and last week's show, if you watch, I said it's going to be a tough game. BYU's got good kids. It's tough to play there. And BYU beat them in overtime. So BYU kicked a field goal. USC had a chance to come back and tie it or win it, and this backup quarterback threw an interception in overtime. So BYU ended up winning by 3, so that was a good game. I also said last week I wanted to see how Arizona State did playing against a big boy team in the Big Ten, Michigan State, up in Lansing against the Spartans, and they won. Real low-scoring game. They won by 3. It was 10-7, I believe. And Arizona State and Herm Edwards pull out a big win on the road at the start of the season. Showed that they can play defense, which usually isn't a Pac-12 thing. Most of the time, usually it's shootouts. But to hold a team to 7 points in their own house that's ranked, great job, Herm Edwards. Great job, Sun Devils. My cousin Matt will like that. Sun Devil alum there, and he helps coach the golf team over there at Arizona State. So shout out to Matt Trimble, my cousin, and your Arizona State Sun Devils for last weekend's win. Florida, Kentucky, I really thought Kentucky would do a little bit better, but Florida did beat them by 8 points. It was a close game. Florida should win, and they did. So that was one I thought Kentucky might do a little bit better. North Carolina I also thought was going to do a little bit better over Wake Forest. So Wake Forest ended up beating North Carolina by 8. And then that Iowa over Iowa State game. So we had the Battle of Iowas. And the spread was like 1.5 on this game for Iowa, who is ranked. And Iowa ended up pulling it out. The Iowa State got a late drive. So you can see they're up by 1 with a minute and a half left. Iowa State actually came down and made a pretty decent attempt at winning the game. But I was able to, take over, and their defense held, and they were able to get that state win, that state rivalry win. And it's just terrible. You got a guy blocking. He's blocking a gunner on the punt team and just doesn't realize where he's at and where the ball is. And, those guys, that's already a rough spot because, who knows if this guy, is on the field for position that much. A lot of these guys are just special teams players. So when you do something like this, it's just kills you. So,
you know what? I don't know how many times I've watched this clip, and they have another clip from the opposite angle, from behind the receiver or the return man. And I've watched this, and I don't know how he does it. It's not that he was blocked into him or anything.
No.
So, it's just, he literally just he never saw him. I don't know.
Attention to where he was.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've watched it. Okay, what was he thinking? I tried. What was he thinking? What was going? And
it was rough.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that sucks. Are we into baseball playoffs? No, we're not. We're still in. It's not October yet, is it?
Yeah, there's 15 games left in the regular season. So last week I said watch Atlanta and the Nationals. Atlanta won that series 2-1. The Brewers. They won their series over St. Louis 2-1, which is good because Brewers are still in the hunt for the wild card, and they're in St. Louis's Central Division. So they're just a little bit back up for the Central Division too. So are the Cubs. So the Cubs and the Brewers are actually right behind the Cardinals for the division, only a couple games back. So any of these games that they can make up, they could actually still win the division and not just fight for a wild card. They could actually win their division over St. Louis. So that's something to watch in Major League Baseball as we get down to the end. The Cubs, the Brewers, and the Cardinals. Watch and see who's winning games down the end of the year because they all could still win that Central Division in the National League. Also, Minnesota beat Cleveland 2-1 in their series this weekend. And all of those are, good playoff teams, playoff implication teams, still fighting for it. Since there's only 15 games left, there's really just a handful of teams, 3 in the NL, 3 in the AL, that are fighting for wild cards. Everyone else is pretty much stamped, like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Astros. Yeah. And, they're in. They're going to start sitting some of their guys probably near the end of the season, maybe rest them up a little bit. So if you play fantasy baseball like me, you're into your playoff, time. Last week I won my first round playoff match in my baseball fantasy league against a higher seeded guy than me. So I was happy about that. And then so far this week, I think I'm winning 16-4 on Wednesday in my second round matchup. And so that's something to kind of look for. Look for these teams like the Dodgers, the Astros. You don't know who's going to start sitting guys that have already clinched and give them some more rest going into the playoffs, or who they might just set for a day or two. So if you're in fantasy baseball playoffs, really be aware of that lineup that's going to be put in that day for your team, because a lot of these guys on good teams may start getting rested here as the regular season goes down.
So I watched this Man City Norwich game this weekend. No,
I didn't.
No, I didn't. I just thought, I was looking, hey, what's a good transition to go from baseball to Premier League soccer? And
I'm sure you
just
did.
Tell a story that Chuck watched Premier League soccer. So I'm looking at these 6 teams here. Was your team Tottenham? Or no?
What?
No. No.
Have you not watched any of our shows or listened to
at all?
This is the 7th episode. I wore a jersey of my team one time on the show. Liverpool, man.
There's a lot, there's a lot of technical stuff going on right here.
Oh my goodness. My team's the team that wins. Liverpool.
And they did beat Newcastle this weekend, I hear, from our outline.
3-1. 3-1 easily. Mane had a great game, 2 goals. Mohamed Salah had a great game. Yeah, they won 3-1. Still at the top of the table standings for those of you that don't know about soccer. So yeah, and they got a little bit of distance. So Tottenham, who's kind of really, they were one of my top three at the start of the year that hasn't played as well as I thought. They won 4-0, so they blew out Crystal Palace this week. They had a really good match. And then Manchester City, who is the team that we were fighting against all year, they lost to Norwich 2-3. That is amazing for my Liverpool. It helps us move up that table and create some space early in the season on them. They were not expecting to lose. So, yeah, good English Premier League stuff this weekend because Manchester City lost and my team won.
Very, and I'm happy for you. I really am. So
Thanks.
One of these days I will surprise you, and I'll actually watch a Premier League soccer game. I just need to.
Well, you're up when they air because they show them live. Usually they're on the weekends at like 6 in the morning or 8 in the morning. That's when I get up to watch them. They're on at like 8 in the morning, usually on some random Fox 1, Fox 2, some random Fox channel usually has a lot of soccer on it.
So I got a clip I'm going to try to pull up, but so there's even not. I mean, if you can't make it overseas to watch soccer in the Premier League, there is some local soccer here in the United States that people actually play as well, right?
Yeah, and we're getting down kind of they end like November 10th, their regular season. So we still got a little over a month of MLS soccer going on. I root for Portland. I got my Portland scarf here. So Timbers is my team. I do like the Sounders. I know that's not allowed, but I don't care. It's just like how I like the 49ers, and I don't hate the Seahawks. I'm not a hater. So I root for teams on the West Coast. I don't care. So but Portland, they lost 1-0 against Washington, D.C. So, and then Minnesota won 3-1 over Salt Lake. Those were the two games I said to watch last week. All four of those teams are really competitive teams near the top of their tables in their divisions and their conferences. So, those were the ones I said to watch, and that Portland game was a pretty good game. We just couldn't get one in the goal.
And NHL, they started their season.
Yeah, and Las Vegas smashed the Arizona Coyotes 6-2. So NHL hockey is going on. It just started. It's going on all throughout the week. It's kind of like baseball and NBA. You can find games that are going to be on throughout the week, all week. And you just kind of, if you're a big hockey fan, you just got to kind of look at your local listings and see when they're airing. A lot of the big broadcasting companies, NBC, CBS, ABC, ESPN, all of them, they don't show a lot of hockey games. Eventually, ESPN will like to have hockey night, and they'll start playing games. But usually at the end of the season, you got to kind of look for them. And also, I would say if you have any hockey around your area, if you have a professional team, if you have maybe a semi-pro, someone right under NHL level, go watch it live. Hockey is one of those live sporting events that you want to check out, even if you're not a hockey fan. Because when you watch it on television, it's follow the puck action. You always got to see where the puck is. When you go to an actual hockey game, there's so much that happens away from the puck that you don't see on TV. And that's what makes going to a game live really great for hockey. And it's really fun. Usually their fans are so committed. I mean, if hockey fans are true fans, like they are into it. They love it. They love their players. They're not casual fans. If you're into hockey, you are into hockey. And so I know that we have some hockey family members, out there watching the show, Anaheim Ducks supporters.
Yep.
I also have some close friends that are San Jose Sharks supporters. So, and I remember going to watch Tri-City American semi-pro hockey, which I eventually saw a lot of those guys in the pros. They were in the NHL that I got to see at a semi-pro level, and it's really good hockey too. So if you can go to a live hockey game, I would strongly suggest it because it's a blast.
Yeah, I dog a lot on hockey, but I've had a blast every time I've ever gone to a local hockey game. It's one of the best nights out. So if you guys have a local hockey team, I mean, everybody that's watching. If you have a team that you like to watch locally, put them in the comments and give them a shout out. Or if you had a team that you used to go watch, locally, wherever you're from, put them in there. Or if you're watching the rebroadcast, put something in there, share it. Would like to know. I have before we move on, I had last week I said one of the things I was going to be watching last week was Formula Drift. They were going to be in Texas, and so they were there at Texas Speedway. And this is not the best video. This is somebody else's video, I think. This isn't the production. This is the fastest one I could find, but this is one of the final rounds between Chelsea DeNofa and James Dean, the guy you liked. Chelsea DeNofa is chasing in his Ford Mustang RTR. And so that was run 1. And then this is run 2. They switch. They always do 2 runs with, and they swap out who's leading, who's chasing, and it's scored that way. And so here's Chelsea DeNofa, who is one of Hayden's favorite racers. He's been so close this year. He's so aggressive, so strong. But look at the door-to-door action there. But it was a great competition. Our guy, my other son's driver, Frederick Osbo, he was taken out by actually James Dean. A little drama, I guess, if you can call it for it. Frederick Osbo was taken out by Peter. I can never say his name. Wojciech, who's James Dean's teammate. Now, Frederick Osbo and James Dean are like this in points, so but he totally crashed him into a tire wall, took him out. He could not continue to compete. So they go into next month here at the House of Drift in Irwindale. I think it's October 18th. Is the final race of the season, and James Dean and Frederick Osbo are right there at the top. It's going to come down to the final fight in Irwindale. We've been there. It's absolutely the best drift course ever made in the history of drift. So, very excited about that. I hate to see James Dean keep winning because, it's just kind of like one of those guys. Like I said last week, he's won the last 2 seasons points, and he's geared up. He's right there to win it again this year for a 3rd time in a row. And, I know how it feels because I used to be a Jeff Gordon fan. And in the heyday, when Jeff Gordon was always winning, everybody hated Jeff Gordon. So I kind of know how that feels. But no, there's some great drivers. Von Gittin Jr., Chelsea DeNofa, Ryan Turk. These are all fantastic drivers. And Ken Gucci that could be up on that podium any given week. And so anyway, that was my recap from last week. And Mike says, shout out to the Tri-City Americans. I've been to one of their games many moons ago, along with Dave. I don't know if we were there together, but probably.
I've been to a good handful of them. That's a good time.
So so let's take a look at moving on to, I don't know how good we are at this. Our picks for the week.
Not very.
So
not very so far.
So this week in our picks, we're picking the team who will cover the spread or the points, as Vegas has it. So this week, Dave went 1-4.
I would have lost a lot of money.
And I squeaked out a small victory at 2-3. I don't even know who I lost, to be honest.
It was just the spreads, man.
Yeah. And then, so our season standings, though, hey, we're right there tied.
Yeah.
If we were real professionals at this, I think it would just kind of be switched, right? 6-4. But so how about we turn it all around this week, starting tomorrow night? The Titans at the Jaguars. The Titans giving up 1.5. What you think?
So Titans are favored on the road, just because the Jaguars have a backup quarterback. They got Jalen Ramsey that will hopefully be traded to my 49ers next week or so. So I can have him and Sherman on both ends and Witherspoon playing out there since everyone runs 3 receiver sets now anyway. Rest in peace, fullbacks. But I would love to take the Titans because they are led by my main man, Marcus Mariota from the University of Oregon. And I think there's a lot of disruption right now. I mean, I like that Minshew kid from Washington State. It's the backup quarterback. There's a lot of silly memes about him. I think he got rookie haze. He came out of an airplane, 80s porn star, basically, is all these things going around social media. I'm sure that wasn't the look he wanted to have. I'm guessing it was a rookie hazing because it was pretty intense. Think like Cam Newton, but like, yeah, 80s porn star. Like I said, it was pretty over the top. But that said, yeah, the Jaguars just aren't clicking. I think the Titans have enough offensive weapons to cover. I think they cover the 1.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Titans by 10.
Nice.
Marcus had a great first game. He was my MVP week 1. He was so in a loss in a game that I think they could have won. He has to have some redemption this week. He knows his job's on the line. He can't have mediocre games. I mean, if he does, he's gonna, if he does, it just means he wants out of Tennessee and onto somewhere else. Last year of his contract. So I'm gonna take the Titans for sure. I don't think there'll be a problem with that, and I look forward to watching that game tomorrow night. Bears are giving up 2.5 going into Denver, the Mile High City of the Broncos. What's that?
Was last week's
game.
My
goodness!
Last week's game.
Oh, it was it. I'm like, that just sounds so familiar.
I'll take the Broncos to cover. I'll take the Broncos to cover the spread.
How about
whatever you want to bet?
How about we do the Saints at the Seahawks?
Yeah.
And it's Saints at the Seahawks. Seahawks are giving up 4.5.
Yeah, so backup quarterback. I watched the Saint game after Breeze went down. Teddy Bridgewater came in. He didn't do great. There's Hill that they put all over the field that they say someone said it was funny because Troy Aikman was calling the game, right? And so some guy said, Joe Buck, who does it with him, says, yeah, we've heard that, Peyton feels like this Hill guy that they put at receiver and they run him in the Wildcat and all this stuff.
Right.
He could be like a Steve Young. And Troy Aikman says, no, Steve Young's a Hall of Famer. He goes, if this guy's Steve Young, he should be starting on an NFL team. And I thought, you know what? Good for you, Troy Aikman, for backing up your fellow Hall of Famer. And no, this guy hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything in the league. Do not say Steve Young comparisons to a guy that hasn't completed 10 passes in the NFL, maybe. Aikman's dead on. If he was that good, he would be starting over Teddy Bridgewater when Breeze came out of the game. And Teddy came in, and I like Teddy Bridgewater. I don't have anything against him. He's fought back from injuries. But he's got weapons. He just didn't move the ball that much. So for that reason, where they don't really know if Teddy's good or if they're going to play this Hill kid, either does the team maybe. Seahawks are really hard to beat anyway at home. Russell Wilson is magic. He just runs all over and makes plays. So I have to take the Seahawks at home.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are an actual team right now, where the Saints are just without Drew Brees. They're just not there. And I agree with you. I don't know what Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to do for them. Yeah. So I agree. I'm going to take the 4.5 also, and the Seahawks at 4.5, and so will Mike. He said he'll take the Seahawks as well. So sounds like there's probably a lot of people on that train. So next one, hopefully this one was this week. Yes. Falcons at the Colts.
Yeah.
Colts giving up 2.5.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. They're both coming off of wins, pretty good wins. Atlanta beat Philly. Philly's a decent team. They're a good enough team. And then the Colts beat the Titans. I don't really know how good the Titans are, but I thought the Titans were going to win that game. So that was good for Brissett to get a win. So they're 1-1, and that gives his team more confidence in him. It gives the city and all the Colts fans more confidence in him. So this is a little bit hard one to pick because they're both coming off wins, but I think I'm going to take the Falcons away just because they have a little bit more weapons, I think. But, man, this is a really hard one because I do think the Colts defense is quite a bit better than the Falcons defense. It's everything when I bet on a Falcons game, I have to rely on Matt Ryan, which is super hard because I feel like after he lost that Super Bowl to Tom Brady where they came back like the craziest Super Bowl ever, I just feel like you can't get back from that. I mean, he can complete passes and he can win some games, but I feel like that Super Bowl might have shattered the rest of Matt Ryan's what could have been amazing career because he was like an MVP candidate also that year.
Yeah.
And I just feel like since then hasn't been the same guy. Like he's not Eli Manning guy, but he can
sling the ball
for him since that loss, and he can throw it around. So I just never know which Matt Ryan's going to show up because if he does show up, they win this game by 10.
Sure, exactly.
So I'm going to take him, hoping that's the Matt Ryan I see. Is the Super Bowl MVP Matt Ryan in Indy. But Indy could win. Indy could win this game.
Well, anyone could win because they have to play the game. So, gosh darn it, I want to go against you, but I agree with you. The Falcons. I'd like to take the Colts because they beat the Titans. Titans have a good defense. Colts are not the Falcons are not going to have the defense that Tennessee has. So it's really going to come down to playmakers, and I have to take the Falcons here. It's a field goal, and I also have to take the Falcons. And I got to look at that spread too. So obviously field goal, it's going to happen. So, I'm going to take them. On we go. Ravens visiting the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 6.5 points, giving up a touchdown.
That's a bigger spread than I thought it would be. Both teams are 2-0. Is Mahomes pretty amazing? Yeah, and I really wondered without Hunt and Hill who would be playmakers. Last week wasn't a problem. That Demetrius Thomas guy I'd never heard of came up huge, was wide open. Like you're a good receiver in the league if you're wide open. He was wide open several times. So, man, I know that Kansas City is really great at home. They have a great fan base. It's hard to beat Kansas City in Arrowhead Stadium. It always has been. And he's amazing, but man, the Ravens are pretty good too. Lamar Jackson has been playing out of his mind so far the first 2 games. They've won pretty easily. Neither one of them have really faced really tough competition who they've played. They haven't played a really decent team yet. And so for that reason, I'm going to say the Ravens aren't going to win, but I don't think they'll lose by a whole touchdown. I think they're good enough to go in and maybe not win, but I don't think they'll lose by a touchdown at home. So I'm going to be, even though I do like the Chiefs, I think I'm going to take Baltimore because I think you're going to take the Chiefs. And I think Baltimore could keep it. I think Baltimore could keep it close enough to get me this win over your pick this week.
So, okay. So, yeah, I am going to take the Chiefs, and here's why. The Ravens beat the Dolphins week 1, 59-10. The Dolphins. Okay.
I beat the Dolphins next week. Just me.
And then they pull off a win towards the end of the game against the Cardinals with, Kyler Murray, who's had 2 300-yard games. He joins a select group of QBs that have thrown for as many yards as he has in his first 2 consecutive games, but they're not winning. That was a very close game, and it was 23-17. So a 6-point game over the Cardinals. So yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs easy on this one. 6.5 plus. Yeah,
you'll probably get it. I think you probably will get it.
And Mike says he's looking forward to the Jackson Mahomes. These guys sling it. This will be probably one of the most exciting games to watch this week. Just slinging, gunslingers at the OK Corral, just letting the bullets fly. That's what I'm hoping to see,
Well, and for NFL fans, if you're a true NFL fan, you like the game, you need to watch this game because like Breeze and Roethlisberger are out, right? Eli just got demoted. Like all these veteran quarterbacks you're watching are soon going to be out of the league. Rivers scored freaking hardly any points against Detroit last week. Like all these guys that are potential Hall of Fame quarterbacks who are going to be out of the league within 5 years from now, you need to start focusing on guys like Lamar and like Patrick Mahomes. This is the future of the NFL. These two guys could be the future of the NFL for the next decade, especially Mahomes. He's already MVP. So, this is a great game to watch if you're interested to see what the future of NFL quarterbacks is going to look like, because both of these guys could be pretty legit guys in the league for the next decade or so. So,
yeah, no, I agree, and it makes football exciting to watch. And this is what maybe some of these lower tier teams need to look at. Who are some of the slingers out there, still mobile but can sling it, have a lot of accuracy. Like Kyler Murray, he's not a big guy in it by any means. I mean, he's not a big quarterback, but he can sling the ball around as well. And as soon as he finds it, comes to in his own in Arizona, that team's going to get better. He's got a lot of weapons. I'm sure this is Fitzgerald's last year, but he still has Kirk and David Johnson in the backfield. This is still a fairly young team. But so moving on to our last one, we always like to add. So we have those, and then we always like to add in the biggest odds of the week. And it wasn't much. I mean, there's two college worthy spreads. One I didn't put up was New England or the Jets at New England 18.5. We didn't do that because guess what? There's one that's even bigger. The Dolphins go and visit the Cowboys and are 21-point underdogs. I don't know how you don't take this. They've lost by 40, 50 or 49 and I don't know, was it 43 something, right? How do you not take 21 points? I will. Well, gosh, the Ravens aren't the Cowboys, and they won 59-10. I think the Cowboys are better than the Ravens. New England is better than the Cowboys, I would have to assume. I just don't know how you don't take this.
Last week I didn't just because I thought it was crazy, but this week I'm going to take it because I think Miami might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen in any season since I've been watching NFL football since 1984. Since I was like 6. This might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen in the first 2 weeks, and I've watched both of their games. I was talking to Chuck earlier, so I got the NFL Game Pass because I'm such a football junkie, and being an ex-high school coach and just liking the strategy of football my whole life, I want to see. I don't care if I already know the score. I want to watch the whole game and see why someone's good or why they're as terrible as the Dolphins. So I have watched both of the Dolphins games just to see why they're so terrible. And it's hard from the naked eye to figure it out, really. I mean, you're just kind of watching a football game, and then all of a sudden, blink, 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 they're down by like 20-something points. Then they're down by 30, and you're just like, geez, like it doesn't seem like they're horrible, but man, yeah, they're just getting rolled. Like, and it's just weird. But I have to take the Cowboys because of just what I've seen over the first 2 weeks. I really tried to give Dolphins the benefit of the doubt last week, like. 19 is so big for professionals to get beat by that much. But after the first 2 games, I got to take Dallas on this.
Yeah, this is hard. I hate to do it also, but Dallas, I thought played a decent Redskins team and won by 10, 31-21. And I thought they'd fall apart. I could actually see the Cowboys going into this. Here's where the letdown happens. Cowboys know they have this game. They go and say, "Hey, we're gonna work on some stuff. This is a practice. This is a preseason game. We're gonna run Zeke. We're gonna blah, we're going to do some stuff. And so you go into it like a practice game, you're doing some of these things, and all of a sudden it's just, all of a sudden you're not winning by that many points because you're just, I mean, we did it in the last season of our flag football game, a team that we've beaten literally every season. We were up 38 or 34-8 at halftime, and we ended up losing right at the end of the game, like 46-40 or something like that. So, I mean, you just keep teams around because you're doing stuff. But I hate to do it. I'm going to take the Cowboys you have to take the Cowboys because the Dolphins haven't shown that they can keep anyone within 21 points. And until they do, you've got to take the other team given that spread.
I just don't know how you can't after the first 2 weeks. It's hard to watch.
Right. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have one game that could help that could separate us next week. That Ravens Chief game. So that's it. We may have a little, Dave may get a little closer. Oh no, we're actually tied. One of us
we're tied.
One of us will not be tied. So hey, before we move on to next, you brought up something, and I was going out to a client yesterday, and Brian, I like watching Division III. Right?
I agree, Brian. Man, I agree.
Oh my goodness. Mike says the Patriots at Dallas are only 100% chance of winning. Yeah. But so anyway, I tried to go live with this because it was kind of breaking news. I was listening to sports radio on the way over to the coast here. I was going to Oxnard, and but the cell reception sucked in Oxnard, and it wouldn't let me go live. But the whole Eli Manning, bench for Daniel Jones, and I guess my question then, it's not so much today, but I wanted to try and get something out there for our guests, our fans, to kind of provide feedback. Do you think that that Pittsburgh or New Orleans or the Jets or anyone has any interest in Eli, or do you just think this man's done? It's not the system, it's just him.
Like I said, I got that Game Pass, so I've watched almost every game this whole season in condensed version. So if you have the Game Pass, you can watch every single play. You can watch a whole game in 45 minutes. It'll show the play right when the whistle blows. You see the next play. There's no commercials, filler, any of that. So you can watch all the games pretty quickly. And I've watched, and it was just the same stuff he was doing last year that's hard to watch. Is he's not getting the I agree with that. I think Eli is a Hall of Famer. He's beat Tom Brady twice in 2 Super Bowls. He's won 2 Super Bowls. But I think, their system right now with, they have Ingram, who's a good young tight end. Shepard's been hurt. They don't really have a great number one receiver anymore because Beckham left. Really, right now, their strategy is let's give Saquon Barkley the ball like 80% of the time, which is a great strategy because that guy's a stud. But, I saw Eli doing a lot what he did last year. He's in the pocket because he doesn't have great talent other than Ingram around him. So he's sitting there, holding the ball because no one's open because he doesn't really have that talent around him. And, yeah, he gets hit all the time. His offensive line's not that great. He's going to throw the ball away so he doesn't get hit as much. And I think the writing was on the wall when they took Daniel Jones. They were already worried about last year about Eli. I mean, you could see it coming. Everyone could see it coming. So the fact that they haven't started off good, they took this kid, early. Eli, of course, is a Manning, so he's just the best guy in the world. And he came out and publicly said, I'll help this team win games however I can. If I'm not the backup, I'll help Daniel Jones prepare for the game, everything he's supposed to say. I don't see anybody trading to try to get a veteran quarterback like this who hasn't performed very well. No one's going to pay to get him. Pittsburgh's fine with Rudolph. They don't care. If this kid is Steve Young at the Saints, put that guy in. Like, if he has all this, hype about him and he might be good, throw him in. Like, I just don't see Eli third week, fourth, fifth week of the season being traded, picking up a new offense. Plus, he's a Manning. Like, he's pretty loyal. I don't care what he's doing now. Eli Manning is a New York legend forever. He beat Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls. Whether he threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns in that Super Bowl, nobody cares. He won. He has two Super Bowl rings for New York. If I was him, I'm a Jet. Or he's a Giant. I leave a Giant. Always a Giant. I just retire. Like, I maybe get through this season, be the good guy. He does these, like he says, he does these camps every summer for decades with his brother and his dad, the Manning quarterback camps every summer, where they've had several NFL players go to these camps that are in the NFL now when they were like 16. So I think maybe he does help this Jones kid out and he retires at the end of the year. I don't see him trying to further his career somewhere else. I think he likes being a New York Giant legend, winning 2 Super Bowls. I think he's good with that, and he should be. I don't think you need to try to prolong your career. He's had a good career.
Yeah, Mike has a big great point about these past prime guys.
Yeah.
That was the name of our first flag football team. It was kind of past our prime time, and it's kind of true, but the new blood, we talked about it earlier, new blood, younger quarterbacks that are slinging it around, younger coaches that are coming in Kingsbury and whatnot. These guys, they're changing the game to an extent. I still think that it's a struggle because you can't come in with a total college mentality. We learned that lesson with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. Had a great first year, went 10-2 or whatever. 10 is whatever. There's more than 12 games this season. But had a great first year with the Eagles, but he couldn't still instill that same college mentality that he had at Oregon. And then he obviously bit off more than he could chew by taking over player management or whatever it was the second year. So, but Brian actually has a good point. I put it up earlier, and I'm going to say this: why not Jacksonville? He knows Tom Coughlin. He's played in a Tom Coughlin system. Why not?
That's a good
You don't
point.
have Nick Foles. You gotta believe. You would have to believe Eli Manning is a better choice in Jacksonville.
I think that might just come down to money. Like, what would they want? How much is he paid? How much do the Jacksonville have that they could pay for him? Do they want to do it already when the season's already started? He hasn't been in camp, but I'm sure if he knows Tom Coughlin, he could, obviously he could probably pick it up pretty good. But maybe Jacksonville just doesn't want to go that route. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's a 1-year deal. You really know. And like Brian says, he's made a ton of money, but what does Eli want? Does he's like, hey, I'm good. And I'm happy. If I'm a competitor, come on, we've all played sports. We've played football, whatever sport we've played.
Yeah.
You're a competitor. You want to be on the field. You want to be helping your team. And the worst thing you could be doing is having to sit on the bench. There's no one wants to be on the bench. Not when you know that, you're a Hall of Famer. You've been an MVP. You've won Super Bowls. No one wants to be, I'm going to support and rah, rah, rah. I'm going to get behind. That's bullshit.
That's not what you prepare for.
I want to be on the field, and so I predict there'll be a move in the next couple of weeks. And Eli Manning will be somewhere else. And I could be totally wrong because you know what? I don't know anything. So, but I think that with, we discussed earlier, the injuries, especially at quarterback this season. Sam Darnold, mononucleosis at his age. Okay. Whatever. My kid had it when he was 11.
I had it
as an adult.
I had it when I was a sophomore in high school.
Well, you're a sophomore in high school. You're not an adult.
It sucks, though. If he has it, because I've had it, I get it. Like, if I hadn't had it before, I probably wouldn't understand it. But Yeah, I probably wouldn't understand it if I hadn't actually went through it, but it does suck. Basically, it's lethargy 1,000,000%. So when I was a sophomore and I got it, I didn't even know what was happening. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, because you don't feel sick, you just feel like you have you have negative energy. I didn't want to eat anything. My appetite was gone. That's why you lose a lot of weight. Nothing sounds good. You don't want to eat anything. You want to sleep all day long. And when you get up, nothing sounds good. You don't want to move around. Your body is just real lethargic, like asleep. Like you can't get going. Like you can't. You try. You physically can't get yourself to get going, to do anything. And it's so bizarre because I was so confused because I wasn't throwing up. My stomach didn't hurt. I didn't have a headache. I just literally just wanted to sleep all day. And I had never felt anything like that before. So I get it. So Sam Darnold, whoever's calling it weak, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Dude,
I didn't call it weak.
I had it. I get it. I know, but a lot of people will because they don't know what it is. Like, it's a weird thing that not a lot of people know about. It's not a really well-known thing. It's not like he broke his arm or something. Like, it's, it's an illness that is short-term, but it's pretty serious. Like, it knocks you on your butt. You literally just want to sleep till it ends. But the thing is, it lasts for like a month. Like, I remember I didn't go to school for like 3 weeks. Like, it was a long time. And after like a week and a half, you're like, okay, is this going away? When am I going to get better? Like, it's really confusing thing. So as an adult, I don't know if it's like chicken pox. Is it worse when you get older? I have no idea. I don't know what it's like. I don't know. But when you're older, but I remember when I had it, it just sucks. So it's a weird thing that he got. But yeah, it's going to take a few weeks.
Sure.
It's going to take him a few weeks.
Our youngest son had it when he was younger, and all I remember was him having hallucinations and hiding behind the couch or waking me up in the middle of the night saying there was like monsters or something, and but also, at the time he was skateboarding and he was, competing in skateboarding and playing football and with the Tracy Cougars, shout out. And he couldn't play football because, like with Darnold, you have enlarged organs, like your spleen enlarges, and so there's a lot of risk to serious internal injuries when your organs are reacting in such a way. So no, I don't think it's a serious thing. It's just not something you really hear a lot about in older people. So that's cool. So my son was so Brian just says my son was probably just having an acid trip. So yeah, that's what every 11-year-old has, in our household at least is, they're just tripping on shrooms, but no. So, all right. So we'll move from mononucleosis to something, a little more, I guess, appropriate, or I don't know how to transition. So, how about we move it into, this week's, play it through person of the week?
Absolutely. So this week, I was going to do this last week, but it was 9/11, so I wanted to save this for this week because I switched it last week. But my play it through person of the week is Josh Gordon, the wide receiver for the New England Patriots, and he's my play it through player of the week because I know there's a lot of these players that something will come up that they do in their life, make bad decisions, things like that, and a lot of the media gets on them, a lot of fans get on them, general public, all those things, all those people, get on these guys bad. But I was reading this Josh Gordon story, and everyone that's an NFL fan that knows that this gentleman has, really suffered from addiction, whether it's pills, alcohol, his sobriety. He's really had a battle of basically not using substances. Well, it's alcohol, marijuana, painkillers, all sorts of things. And, I wanted to shed a light on this because I have friends, family members who have gone through substance abuse, who currently are addicts. And these, I don't like when people get on people for that and demean them and aren't helpful. These people need help. Like, this is a serious issue. I've had several family members and friends that have addictive personalities to whatever their vice of choice was that was not beneficial to them or their family's life decisions. So the fact that Josh Gordon has been trying to fight this, the New England Patriots organization has been so helpful to him. Last year, he missed the Super Bowl because his sobriety was more important. He had got suspended. And then basically he, instead of being in the Super Bowl, he was at a rehab facility that the Patriots were paying for. So it was just crazy. But I'm glad he is working on himself, because guess what? Football's going to go and he's still going to have this problem. So it's always a good time, I should say. It's always a good time to take care of yourself. Even if you're a professional football player and you're about to go to the Super Bowl, guess what? Not as important as making sure you're there for number one when you have this kind of issue. So he's had this issue since, he said he's had it since the 7th grade. He started smoking marijuana, taking painkillers. When he was at Baylor here, he was selling drugs when he was at the school. He was making $10,000 a month selling drugs as a college student. He was suspended from the team, eventually kicked off the team. The only way he was getting to play for the team is, he said, one of the coaches was actually helping him by giving him detox so he could pass his drug tests. Then he went on. He went to Utah, transferred, never played for the Utah Utes. He got drafted in the supplemental draft by the Cleveland Browns in 2012. They picked him up in the supplemental draft because he had so much talent, and he ended up playing really well for him. He played 16 games his rookie year. His sophomore year, he was suspended for 2 games, but then he went on to, in weeks 12 and 13 of his sophomore season, he was the first NFL player to have back-to-back 200-yard receiving games, and he finished the year as the league leader in receiving yards and earned first-team All-Pro. So his second year in the league, that's how talented this guy is he had barely played college football. He was picked in the supplemental draft. He ended up in his second year leading the league in receiving yards and was an All-Pro and went to the Pro Bowl. Then the year after that, suspended again, failed the drug test. 2014, he failed the drug test his 3rd year in the league for marijuana. 2015, he was suspended the whole entire year for not, failing the league substance abuse policy. 2016 season, he went to rehab. He didn't play at all. But in 2017, he finally played the last 17 games with the Browns. And in 2018, he went to the Patriots. So he started on the Browns, went to the Patriots, played most of the games, played well, but then he had a diluted sample, which made him not go play in the Super Bowl. But he's playing it through, because this year he said, you know what? I've been through the rehab. I'm trying to be a better person. Just judge me on what I do from today forward. I'm really working on myself every day. And first game of the season, he has, this clip is the first touchdown of the New England Patriots season is Josh Gordon. This guy's barely played he played last year, but before that he didn't play barely the first 2 years. Jumps over a guy, breaks a tackle, gets in. Patriots' first touchdown of the season. So I just wanted to highlight Josh Gordon and say that, I'm rooting for this guy. I hope he can keep his sobriety up, just like I hope all my friends and family and people I care about can keep up their sobriety. Their substance abuse issues that they've been through, and now they're on the road to rehabilitating themselves and not needing those vices, and being better people, making better decisions for themselves. Because guess what? We do a draft show, right? SportsnDrafts. I can drink a beer. I can drink 3 beers. I can drink 5 beers, and I'm pretty okay. But guess what? I know a lot of friends and family members that I have gone and drank with, and they can't have just 2 beers. They can't have just 5 beers. They have 5 beers and 5 shots, and then they're looking for the next thing or whatever. Like, some people just can't do it. So, these people aren't to be judged. They need help. They need support, and they need tough love. Some of them, they need honesty. I have several friends that I had told, hey, guess what? Not going to go out with you anymore. And they're like, why?
I'm like, because by halfway through the night, I have to babysit you, and that's not while I'm your friend. That's not why I want to go out with you. I want to go out to have fun. I don't want to go out and have a few beers and then look over and you've had 7 shots and now I'm carrying you to the car. That's not, the night I want planned. So just shout out to Josh Gordon for playing it through this issue he has with his, substance abuse and sobriety. And I'm rooting for the guy, and I'm rooting for everybody out there to play it through that has an addiction or some sort of substance abuse, that they can overcome it.
So it's an amazing story, because so many times we'll hear, hey, it was suspended for substance abuse and all this stuff, and you never know the backstory behind it. And we jump on it to judge, right? That's the first thing oh my gosh, this guy's, they can't do it without drugs or whatever it is. And we just jump on that bandwagon. But when you look, at someone's life, whether you never know where someone's going, how they're raised, where they're coming from, or anything. And, but as you said, he's made a decision. Hopefully that's a decision that, going to rehab, that, that was something he was absolutely serious about. And, he's going to, see it through, play it through. And, because if he does, I mean, I'll tell you what, the Patriots, you might as well just put them in the Super Bowl now. They're a better team this year than they were last year. And it's just hard to say.
Well, and it's like you were saying, you don't know these guys' stories. Like I said earlier, this started in the 7th grade, and he said he attributes a lot of his substance abuse to anxiety, social anxiety, and social disorder that he felt, family trauma from when he was young. So before you go to judge these people and just say, oh, this guy's a junkie, why are these NFL teams still giving him a chance? This guy's been dealing with this since he was like 14 years old or something like that, 13.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't raised in a good environment, obviously, or he had some psychological issues that he needed help, that he either kept to himself or someone didn't help him. So it's just like, before you, just judge somebody, know why. Like, know why maybe they are who they are, or why they're doing what they are. This guy, he may have not been, woken up by his mother every day. Get ready for school. Josh, here's your breakfast. All right, Mom. Hey, come home. What are we doing today? Oh, we're going to sit at the table like a family and have 3 squares a day and, have this happy life. Like, not everyone lives that life, and people have to understand that. People come from rough backgrounds. They come from very traumatic upbringings, and you basically are who you are. Most people, by the time you're like 12 years old, you kind of know what you like, what you don't like. You figure more stuff out in life, but generally you have a lot of stuff grown into you by the time you're like 12, of how you've been raised, what the world looks like, what you think the world is from your perspective of how you're living and how your family is, or, and so, yeah, it's just, good for this guy, good for the Patriots to keep helping him. And I hope, like I said, I hope nothing but good things for this guy, and hopefully he can stay away from those negative things.
Sure. So you said something in there, and because you're the data guy. You're the guy who keeps pieces of paper when he was in his youth on every stat in the world. I'm sure you weren't doing it. I don't know what you were doing in 2013. So I'm going to ask you this question. So you said that he had back-to-back 200-yard receiving games in 2013. Who was the quarterback?
Oh, geez. For the Browns back then, could have been anybody. They've had a million of them.
I was putting you on the spot, man. That's all right. So
I don't even know. 2012, 13. I don't know. I don't know who it was back then.
So Brian, kind of, I think, agrees with me. Might as well put him in the Super Bowl.
Brian's
I don't know. He's a Giants fan? Really? I mean, gosh, I don't want to. The New York football
University of Florida.
The New York Football Giants. You know what? I would never put down any of our fans, especially when they're putting anything in here. I love you, Brian. That's okay. I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan. So, and we are 0-1-1. So,
You got that 31 on there.
So, all right. Let's look forward to what are we going to watch this weekend. And you are obviously going to watch a hell of a lot more than I am. So third round of the WNBA. How many rounds are there?
4.
Okay.
There's 4 teams left, and it's the third round. So they're playing a 3-game series right now. And you can catch these games. They're on ESPN2. So tomorrow night, they start at 3:30. The first game's on at 3:30 on ESPN2, and then the second game follows right after it. Same thing on Sunday. They start at 2 o'clock on ESPN2, and then they're back-to-back games. So, we have, same teams are in it from the first round, from the third round game ones that I said earlier. It's Washington playing against Las Vegas and Connecticut playing against the Los Angeles Sparks. So we'll see.
So St. Louis is at Chicago this weekend for a 4-game series. What kind of any implications there?
Oh, absolutely. So basically the only Major League Baseball game I have you to really focus on for this weekend is the 4-game series starts tomorrow between St. Louis at Chicago Cubs. And Chicago Cubs are like 2 games back of the Cardinals right now to win the Central and the National League. So Cubbies can make a sweep at home. Guess who's the new National League Central leaders over the Cardinals? And that will also help the Milwaukee Brewers if the Cubs win these games also, because they're behind the Cardinals in those standings too. So that's a big NL Central matchup. Watch Cardinals at the Cubs.
The who I'm rooting for this weekend in this next category is Chelsea. I was going to say that probably. No.
Against
Chelsea. Yeah. Go Chelsea.
Liverpool?
Go Chelsea.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Just being that guy. You're just going to
No, I'm that guy. I'm an underdog guy. Yeah, right?
All right.
No, I don't know. Tell us about it.
That's fine. That's fine if you do. English Premier League. We have Leicester against Tottenham. See if Tottenham on Saturday can keep that momentum from that 4-0 victory they had last week going. And then Liverpool's at Chelsea on Sunday. Chelsea's, always historically a very good team. They're middle of the pack right now, so hopefully Liverpool can go there, stay on top. And then West Ham. West Ham is at Manchester United on Sunday. That should be a good matchup. So watch West Ham and Manchester United also.
Excuse me. Locally, the LA Football Club is playing Toronto this Saturday at 7:30 on ESPN and or ESPN Plus. Is ESPN have a Plus station?
Yeah, you have to pay for it.
Oh,
that's what really cool new show is on. But you got to pay for it to see it.
Oh, is that where Peyton's show is? So
you got to subscribe to it, to ESPN Plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that comes with Hulu. Hulu Live
does not.
Oh, damn! All these streaming things, they'll just nickel and dime us until they'll just nickel and dime us until we pay the same thing as we've always paid for cable. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
You've been a faithful viewer for the last hour and 23 minutes, and I swear we're almost done. Yeah. Stick with us. NHL, there's a bunch of games on this week that you can watch on local listings and ESPN. Yeah. College football, the first one that you listed here, I'm actually interested in viewing because I haven't bought into Michigan, and this is going to be the first test. Number 11 Michigan at Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's favored by 3. So, right? Wisconsin's. So the lower ranked team is favored.
Yeah, they're at home. They're only. Michigan's 11, Wisconsin's 13. Wisconsin's at home. They're favored by 3.5 points. It's the morning game on Fox at 9 a.m. So I suggest watching it. Wisconsin has a really good running back that I think could do some damage on Michigan, and I don't know if Wisconsin will make the spread, but I think Wisconsin is better than Michigan.
So, and So I'm looking through here. So you have Ole Miss, you have Cal at Ole Miss.
Mhm.
So Cal is ranked 23. Ole Miss isn't, and Ole Miss is favored by 2.5.
At home, yep. Ole Miss
Yeah.
is, I guess they think Cal's not going to be a good Southeast road team, but
And this one also is surprising. Auburn, number 8 Auburn, at Texas A&M, who's number 17, and Texas A&M is favored by 4. So more than a field goal.
yeah, and Texas A&M was just, Texas A&M's ranked 17, and they just lost a tough game last week to LSU. So they lost to LSU in a tough game, but they're at home against Auburn. I think because they're at home, they're giving them the benefit of the doubt. But Auburn beat Oregon, who Oregon was ranked like 10th when they played them, and they won a close game there. So I almost thought this would be a pick 'em. I didn't think it'd be 4. I thought maybe it'd be 1.5 one way or the other.
Yeah, 4 is a lot.
Yeah, but that Auburn, Bo Nix, the freshman quarterback at Auburn, he's doing pretty well. So this guy might have some freshman mojo around him. I mean, I think Auburn could pull this upset off. Well,
So 20.
They're ranked 8. Texas A&M's ranked 17, but
Yeah, that's
spread. I would take the money line on this. If I were to put money on this game in Vegas, I would just put money that Auburn's going to win, so I can win more, and I would pull for Auburn to win this game.
Yeah, I want Texas A&M to win because Auburn beat Oregon. So that's me and my emotional picks.
Yeah.
Not my realistic statistical. But so 22 Washington is favored at BYU. I mean that shouldn't be a problem, right? I mean,
well, that's 12:30 on ABC, and they're favored by 6. I think they can do it, but I wanted to put this game on the thing because BYU just beat USC, who was ranked at home, and so maybe they have enough home momentum, mojo. They didn't have to go anywhere. They're feeling pretty good. Maybe they could pull it off. I'm rooting for Washington. I would love Washington to win and by the spread. My father-in-law graduated from the University of Washington. He's a Husky. The Huskies were actually the first Pac-10 team that I rooted for before I even really knew what the Oregon Ducks were before I went to school there. I was always a Husky fan growing up. So I do like the Huskies, and I hope they can go to BYU and get this win and cover that spread.
Yeah, for the Pac-12, I definitely hope they get this win.
Pac-12 win good too.
So and finally, this is probably the highest ranked game of the week. I'm sure. Number 7 Notre Dame visits number 3 Georgia, and Georgia's favored by 14.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
a big spread if you're ranked number 7. But I think it's accurate because my sleeper pick to win the national championship this year is Georgia. They're my sleeper. But the only bad thing is they've been my sleeper like the last 2 or 3 years. And they can't get, no one can beat Clemson or Alabama. So they're always right outside of it because no one can get over Alabama or Clemson. But, man, Georgia's always talented. And do they win by 14? I don't know. But I think Georgia does win the game, and that's at 5 p.m. on CBS. That's kind of like the big night game.
Yeah. And then finally, before we let you all go, NFL this weekend. What do you watch? What games do you want to watch this weekend, or do you think that people should watch this weekend or care about?
I don't know if they'll care about it, but I want to see that Miami at Dallas game. I want to see if Dallas can beat them by 21, and I want to see if Miami is that terrible again. So I
just hate watching Dallas be that good. That's all it is. Again, an emotional thing. I just hate seeing them be that good, and then to beat up on a team like that just makes them look better when maybe they're not. So we'll see when they actually have to play a really good team. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want to see if they're really that bad. And then I want to see the New Orleans at Seattle game, and I want to see, obviously, because I'm a Niner fan, I'm going to watch it anyway. But I want to see Pittsburgh at San Francisco, just because New Orleans has their backup quarterback. What are they going to look like at a whole game? What's Pittsburgh going to look like in a full game and a full week of preparation? Also, at San Francisco, which Seattle is undefeated. The 49ers are undefeated. They're both at home. that'll really be hard for a backup quarterback to come in with that momentum on a road game to get those wins. But how well they're going to move the ball, how many points they're going to score, I'm really interested in watching those two games because of that. Also, Baltimore at Kansas City, battle of 2-0 teams, those
game.
young quarterbacks like we talked about earlier. There could be a lot of highlights. I think that could be a really fun game to watch. And then the last one is also backup quarterback situation. Is this Daniel Jones kid ready to go on the road and play at Tampa Bay and, help out the Giants? Is he ready? Is he ready to take over for Eli? And what's that going to look like? So some of these games, they might be ugly looking games with these backup quarterbacks, but as a fan of the NFL in a whole and all the teams and watching, I want to see how these backups do. What kind of product are they going to put out there on the field for their fans?
Yeah, I agree. Probably the game for me this week is the Baltimore at KC. That's going to be that just should be an exciting game. I'm also interested in being a Cardinals fan, with Carolina. Carolina just hasn't shown anything. And this Kyler Murray, every game he's going to get better. He's got fantastic talent. I think he has better talent around him than the Panthers. I mean, you put Kurt Warner back there, a healthy, good, young Kurt Warner back there for Arizona with the talent they have. They're winning. Their defense has played all right, not as good as it's been under when Bruce Arians was there. I thought he was a great defensive coach, or minded coach. But speaking of defense, okay, totally off topic, but I watched, the Jets Cleveland game, and probably the most, it's not going to make any sense. I mean, unless you actually watch the game, what I'm going to say is not going to actually make any sense. I thought the New York Jets defense played smash mouth football. They didn't win the game. They gave up 23 points, but the hits they were putting on, the physicality in that game, and it was like, this is old school football. They were hitting guys, and there were some penalties because they were hitting guys. Yeah. I enjoyed just that. Those are the little things. It didn't end in a victory. It didn't end the way they wanted to, but it's those little things. It's like, that's football. That's NFL football, because I saw them picking guys up and smashing. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm getting excited about it, but the New York Jets, their defense plays extremely aggressive. Does that mean they're good? No, doesn't mean they're good. But they're playing aggressive, and at least somebody's getting them pumped up to play physical. They're playing physical ball, just not good physical ball. And but I'm looking forward to that Cardinals Panthers game, as well as the 49ers. I mean, Steelers, even with the backup quarterback, Steelers are a fantastic test to anyone. And the other thing is, because I still do not believe in Cleveland. Cleveland lost week 1. Titans, by a good margin. They won against the Jets. They should have won against the Jets. They played their third string quarterback for most of the game, Falk. And Falk basically handed off or checked down to Le'Veon Bell most of the game, and he went nowhere because he only ended up with like 11 points in fantasy. And I'm not buying into Cleveland at all yet, because they haven't played. I mean, they got beat by Tennessee. Tennessee has a good defense. They have Marcus Mariota, but Marcus fell apart last week. Anyway, I think that the Rams at the Browns, I think you're going to find out the true identity of the Cleveland Browns this week. And they ain't who we thought they were. Is that what the saying was? So anyway, yeah, and that's what I think it was. Delaney Walker after week 1 when Tennessee beat him in his interview after, they ain't who we thought they were. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that Rams Browns game as well. But KC Baltimore, I'm not going to miss that one. Not going to miss that one. Anyway. All right. Hey, good show. Hour and 34 minutes. You know what? We had great participation today by our fans. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mike Fortier, for joining us. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Primetime Sports League, for joining us. And thank you, everyone. It's you that helps us grow and connect with. And so we'd love to see you. If there's anything we could do, let us know. Hey, if you think, okay, if you watch this throughout the week, if there's a better time that better matches your schedule, let us know in our comments. Watch the replay, let us know, and we'll let you. Obviously, if you made it through an hour and 35 minutes and for this question, let us know what we could do better to get you to attend. But this was a great broadcast with a lot of great participation. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dave. And so go back next week. You got to come back with who the quarterback was for the Cleveland Browns in 2013.
Yeah. Got up immediately when we got off of this. So I don't know who it was. They've had 1,000 quarterbacks. Tim Couch? I don't know.
I was almost while you were talking going to go online and see if I could figure it out real quick.
That's a tough one for the Browns. They've had like 45 quarterbacks in like 5 years. They're a dumpster fire.
So anyway, all right, everyone, have a great week. We will see you all. Somebody just joined us at the hour and 35 minutes. Someone just joined us. Hey, viewer, we're out. So, hey, have a great week. Enjoy your brews, your drafts. Mr. Rasputin here, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. All right, bye now, everyone.